Hello everyone, this is the first concept builder mock for logical reasoning, right? So logical reasoning will be a part of the section 3 of the general test of the CUET exam. And what we're doing is we're doing 5 concept builder mocks where we will touch upon the main concept. So every mock will have a few topics that will be looked upon. Very quickly just going through the theory part of that topic and looking at a few questions. That is what we'll do. So this is the first of those for logical reasoning. As we go ahead, once these videos are done, we'll look at 5 full-length mocks, which will eventually will also be discussed on this channel. If you want to take this as a test first, the description for or the link for that test is in the description of the video. So just take out some time, take this test. It has 25 questions because that is what the expectation is as of now. The section 3 of CUET is supposed to have 75 questions based on GK, maths and logical reasoning. So there's a very good chance 20-25 questions from reasoning might show up, right? So every test, the concept builder test, will consist of 25 questions split on about 4 to 5 topics from logical reasoning, right? So this is the first of those. The topics that are covered in this test are blood relations, family tree, or something like that, direction test, coding, decoding, and from arrangement I'm looking at linear and circular. So a few questions on linear, a few on circular arrangements. Again, these are high probability topics. Direction test, coding, decoding, blood relations have always been part of any logical reasoning examination. If you look at previous year's CUCET exams, these 3 topics were there. From arrangement, you typically get set-based questions where there is information in there. Then a set of 4 to 5 questions follows and you have to answer those questions, right? So yeah, starting with this. First of all, blood relations. So in any blood relation question, you will be given a few people and how they are related. Their names, their genders might be there. There might be further information as well if it is a combination questions. But more often than not, what you're expected to do is draw the family tree. So while you're drawing the family tree, what you'll do is you will draw every generation in one row. Number 1, starting from the top, the first generation, second, third. For example, if I say A is the grandfather of B. So what does this tell me about A and B? Technically for B, I just know that B exists. For A, I know that A is in the first generation, and since A is the grandfather, A has to be a male. So I'll start from the top generation, I'll write A here. The next generation will be the sons and daughters of A. The third generation would be the grandchildren of A. Since A is the grandfather, so what I'd also want to do is, wherever there is a relation, I would use some symbol to show relation. Also, please make sure you use some symbol for gender. So what I'm doing is, for males, I'm using a, say, square. For females, I'll be using a circle. Because I know that A is the grandfather, I put a square here. A is a male for sure, right? Further, suppose it says that, C is married to A. Right? Now, because I know that A is male and C is married to A, C has to be the female counterpart, and therefore what I do is I draw a symbol saying marriage, so double arrow for a marriage, and since C is the female, a circle for C. If I come to know further that D is the son of A or C, I'll put an arrow from here and write D in the second generation, and so on. That is how the family tree will go on forming, right? Once it is done, there is a very good chance I will be able to answer the questions that are asked. Also, do not assume genders and relations. Just because the name of a person says Amit does not mean it has to be a male, it could be a female as well. So unless otherwise clearly specified in the question, do not assume a gender. Similarly with relations, since I'm talking of relations, the important relations that you should know are, I'm sure the ones we're very comfortable with would be mother, father, son, daughter, grandfather, grandmother, grandchildren, grandson, granddaughter, things like that, brother, sister, etc. In English, the thing is, there are very few terms for relations. I mean, in Hindi we have a lot of terms, chacha ji, tau ji, mama ji. So everyone, according to the maternal side or paternal side, is classified also. Whether they are older or younger is classified. In English, we just use the word uncle, right? So if I want to give more information, I might use terms like maternal and paternal. Maternal means from the mother's side, paternal means from the father's side. Similarly, in-laws means someone who's from the side of your spouse. Spouse means the husband or the wife, depending on who you are. Then siblings and cousins. Siblings are brothers and sisters from the same parent. Cousins will have different parents, all right? Similarly, nephew and niece. So the counterpart of uncle and aunt is nephew and niece. If A is my uncle, I become A's nephew. Similarly, if I was a female, I would be the niece. So bhatija or bhanja would be called a nephew. Bhatiji or bhanji will be called a niece, right? So these are probably the terms that would come across. In terms of questions, typically there are these three types of questions. One, there are standalone questions where information is given about a family tree and you're expected to tell how are the two people related. Second, there could be set based question where there is information, you have to draw the entire family tree and there are multiple questions from that set. And then there can be symbol based questions. Just to give you an idea, for example, look at this question. This is a standalone question. Just take a couple of minutes and answer this question. The question here reads, if Rohan is the brother of the daughter of Mohit's sister, then how is Akriti, the wife of Mohit, related to Rohan's sister? Alright, so what I'll do is I'll draw the family tree, row-wise generation, making sure of genders and making a mark for the kind of relationship that is given. Now, for this kind of a statement, either start from the beginning or start from the end. I prefer starting from the end, so I'll start from this part. Daughter of Mohit's sister. So I draw Mohit first. Then I draw Mohit's sister. Since sisters are females, I draw a circle. So Mohit and Mohit's sister. Rohan is the brother of the daughter. So first of all, Mohit's sister's daughter is what I'm looking at. So sister's daughter. Daughter again is a female, and Rohan is the brother of this person. This is the person that I've drawn. Rohan is this person's brother. So I draw Rohan here. Should I mark a square around Rohan? Because Rohan is the brother, I can be sure he is a male. Then how is Akriti? Who is Akriti? Akriti is the wife of Mohit. So I draw Akriti here. Akriti being the wife would be a female and therefore Mohit becomes a male. So this becomes a husband-wife pair. The question says, how is Akriti, the wife of Mohit, related to Rohan's sister? So this is Rohan's sister and I'm looking at the relationship between these two people. As you can clearly see, Akriti is the aunt of Rohan's sister, right? How is Akriti related? Since it asks the relationship of Akriti with this daughter, therefore the answer becomes Akriti is the aunt, right? If the question was how is Rohan's sister related to Akriti, the answer would have been the opposite, which is niece. Question number 1. Second question, for example, pointing to a lady in the park, Harish said, she is the daughter of my grandfather's only son. So Harish is talking about the lady and she in the statement is that lady. How is Harish related to that lady? Again, let us draw the family tree. So Harish is talking about the lady and says, my grandfather's only son. So let us first draw the grandfather. Grandfather would, this is grandfather, not the other meaning of GF, all right? This grandfather has only one son, so let us draw that one son. Since he is the only son, I'm writing 1 here just to remember that there cannot be more sons. And about the lady, he says she is the daughter of this son. So the lady is the daughter of this son. Also, grandfather was Harish's grandfather, right? So because my grandfather's only son. So Harish, this grandfather will also be Harish's grandfather. Harish would be in the same generation. Now the question is, two questions actually. Number one, whether Harish will be the will be the offspring of this son, because my grandfather is only one son. The answer is not necessarily. The grandfather is only one son, but could have multiple daughters, right? There could be a daughter here, and Harish could be the son of this daughter. Even in this case, this grandfather will be Harish's grandfather. So for this lady, Harish can say, this lady is the daughter of my grandfather's only son, right? Here Harish and the lady will be cousins. Or Harish could also be the son of grandfather's only son. Grandfather does not have a daughter, in which case they become siblings, right? Now the question says, how is Harish related to that lady? Brother, son, father. Harish with this lady, they're in the same generation, definitely cannot be father or son. Will the answer be brother? Again, the moment I started this question without drawing the family tree, I was almost certain that I know the answer, because what is the gender of for Harish? Pointing to the lady, Harish said, she is the daughter of my grandfather's only son. Harish's gender is not mentioned anywhere, and therefore marking genders is important. Harish could also be a girl, right? So Harish could be a girl, right? And therefore Harish could be the sister, could be the brother or a cousin of the lady, and therefore the answer to this question becomes cannot be determined, mostly because of the gender, and also because there is a confusion about Harish being the cousin or the sibling of the lady, right? The idea again remains, draw the family tree and you should be good to go. Next, I have a set question where there is information given, and then questions will follow from this information. Question says, a family consists of 6 members A, B, C, D, E, F. Further information is given. There are 2 married couples. D is a married man. C is the daughter-in-law of A. F is the son of B and brother of E. A is the grandmother of F. Again, whenever there is this kind of a question where there is information given, you don't have to start from the first statement, right? Always start from a statement for which the minimum number of cases are possible. For example, if I say D is a married man, I want to start from this statement. Whether D will be in the first generation, second generation, or the third generation, assuming that you have to be married to have the next generation, I mean, assuming this is compulsory here, D could be first or second. So there are 2 cases possible starting with this statement. Therefore, I will not start with this statement. But if I look at the third statement which says C is the daughter-in-law of A, I can be very certain that A would be somewhere at the top, then C will be below it. But again, I do not know whether A is in the first generation or the second generation, because C could be anywhere there. And therefore, I think a better statement to start with would be the last statement which says A is the grandmother of A, because that tells me there are 3 generations, the grandmother, the mother, and F. So I start with this statement, says A is the grandmother of A. I write the first generation at the top, grandmother, circle, A is an F in the third generation. Typically, therefore, the married couple will be in the first and the second generation. So this is done. Next, F is the son of B and brother of E. So I have information about F I had drawn, so I use that information. F is the son of B. So I draw B here. F is a son of B. Also, F is the brother of E. So I draw E with F. I do not know the gender of E, so I have not marked any mark there. Neither do I know the gender of B. Third last statement then, C is the daughter-in-law of A. A, I know where A is. C is the daughter-in-law of A, therefore, C has to be the wife of A's son, daughter-in-law, right? So, in this generation, there has to be a wife. B is already there. B cannot be wife of B, right? And therefore, I draw C here being the daughter-in-law of A. And since there is only B left, now if you look at it, I have already drawn 5 people. There were a total of 6. So therefore, and I need 2 married couples. So this could be 1 couple and there will be 1 couple at the top. So this becomes a married couple, because of which B becomes the male. Next, D is a married man, so the only option left is marry D to A. So this becomes one couple, I'm sorry. A and D, B, C becomes one couple, and B and C have two children, F and E. That becomes my family tree. Look at the questions. How is E related to F? E related to F. They have the same parents, they're in the same generation, so E could be the brother or sister of F. The gender of E is not known. So how is E related to F? Could be brother or sister, either A or B. Which of the following is a couple? We know that A was married to D, so AD was the couple, and B was married to C, the BC was a couple. From the options, none of them are a couple, AD or BC. So these are the two questions based on this information, right? A set based question. Next, this is a symbol based question. So you will have information given in this format. It will say P minus Q means P is the sister of Q, P star Q means P is the father of Q, P divided by Q means P is the brother of Q, P plus Q means P is the mother of Q. These are the symbol based relationships given, and then you will have these kind of symbols. So you could have a relationship for which you have to find the representation, or you could have a representation for which you have to find the relationship. So I'll just use that from minus means sister, star means father. So P minus Q means P is the sister of Q. P star Q means P is the father of Q. P divided by Q means brother, and plus means mother. P is the brother of Q, and P plus Q means P is the mother of Q. As you can see, I have drawn the four relationships. I've drawn the four relationships, and I'll use this to answer the question. The first is, which of the following means P is the grandmother of T? P is the grandmother of T. So number one, what I can always do is I can start from the options and draw family trees for all of them and see which one satisfies. But I think it takes a lot of time. Instead, I'll try to eliminate options. Now, the question wants me to find out how can I say that P is the grandmother of T? If P is the grandmother of T, P has to be a lady, right? So the symbol after, and in any of these questions, do not use BODMAS, okay? This is not maths, they're just symbols, they will be read from left to right, okay? Now, I'll look at a symbol which tells me that P is a female, okay? So if P is followed by a minus, that means P is a female. If P is followed by a star, that means P is a male. P followed by a divided sign is a male, and P followed by a plus is a female. Because in the question I want to find out that P is the grandmother, in my option P has to be followed by a plus or a minus. Sorry, plus or a minus. So this is possible, this is possible, this is not possible, this is possible. Next, because P is the grandmother of T, so there has to be a difference of 2 generations between P and T. P, then 1 generation, and then T's generation. Which symbol creates a difference of 1 generation? Star does and plus does. So between P and T, there have to be 2 of these, 1 plus 1 star, 2 pluses or 2 stars, something like that. Okay. So I'll just look at the options. Here there are 3 pluses. So grandmother, mother, the person, and then another one. Between P and T, there is a difference of 3 generations, so this cannot be the answer. I am looking at generation star and plus. Again, here I have a plus minus minus, cannot be the answer. Plus star, so the only remaining option is this. If I draw the family tree, P plus Q means P is the mother of Q. Q star R means Q is the father of R. R minus T means R is the sister of T. As you can see, P becomes the grandmother of T. Alright. The next question then. The next question says, in the expression B plus D star M dash divided by n. How is m related to b? In here, in this question, just draw the family tree and see, because only one tree is what you have to make. B plus d. Plus means father. So b is the father of d. D star m. Star means mother. D is the mother of m. Dash means brother. So m is the brother of n. This is what I get. How is m related to b? As you can see, b has a son, d has a son, m. Therefore, b will be the grandfather of m. But the question asks, how is m related to d? You have to find the relationship of m with d. So, m becomes the grandson of b. Alright. Relatively simple questions, typically family trees, especially the first and the third type of questions are easier to do. When I say easier, I mean one is difficulty level, the other is the time used per question. You have to understand, when you are doing a question which is a set based question where there are say 5-7 questions based on that set, 4-5 questions based on that set, what happens is you end up investing some time figuring out the set. For example, in this question, we have to first draw the tree and then work with the questions. If this is a difficult question, I might end up using a lot of time doing this and I might make a mistake, and therefore this might not be solved. But in standalone questions, you just look at the question and you'll know whether you're solving it or not. So in that sense, these are questions which at least should be run through to ensure you don't miss out on a simple question. The second topic for this video is direction test. Again, one of the easier topics, I'd say, because we know what the directions are. What are the directions? Aage, piche, upar, niche. Nahin? Yeah, so when I say direction, I'm talking of the news, north, east, west and south. Please understand, directions are relative. Relative is not blood relation relative, but in north, east, west, south have a specific place with respect to each other. My north and your north would be different depending on where you're sitting, where you're facing, right? So on paper, you can draw north, east, west, south anywhere. Just make sure with respect to each other, their positions are constant. And how they are drawn are, if this is north and I am facing north, east will be on my right, west will be on my left, and therefore this will be south, right? If I am facing east, then north has to be on my left, south has to be on my right, and therefore this will be west. Facing north, right is east. Just remember that and you'll know what the directions are. Anything between them is a combination of two directions. So the line of north-south is north-south, then there is east. The area between north and east is called northeast. The area between south and east is called southeast. South and west becomes southwest, and north and west becomes northwest, right? Sometimes you will come across the word clockwise or anti-clockwise. Clockwise always is here because that is how the clock runs. Anti-clockwise becomes in the opposite direction. In terms of your movement, clockwise will be towards right, anti-clockwise will be towards left, irrespective of where you are facing, right? So if you're turning right, you're going clockwise. Also, when I draw this kind of a figure, you have to understand these four angles are 90 degrees. So if I'm facing north and I turn clockwise 90 degree, I'll start facing east. If I'm facing east, I turn another 90 degree, I'll start facing south, and so on. So questions can be based on all of these aspects. There could be distance and direction based questions. Pythagoras theorem here becomes important because, say if a very basic question where I say, I start from a point, go 4 meters towards east and then 3 meters towards north. I'm standing here. What is the distance between the starting point and where I am now? And with respect to the starting point, in which direction am I? So from here, what direction will this be? It is between north and east. So it will be northeast. That is very simple. What will be the distance? To find out when I talk of distance, we talk of the shortest straight line path. And for this, I'll have to use Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras theorem simply says, in a right angle triangle, the line opposite the right angle is called the hypotenuse. One of them is the perpendicular, the other is the base. And for a right angle triangle, p square plus b square has to be equal to h square. So in this case, for example, 3 square plus 4 square would be the length of this h. So 9 plus 16, h will come out to 5. 25 root is 5, right? The good thing about Pythagorean triplets is you can take values common. For example, 3, 4, 5 is a triplet, satisfies the Pythagoras theorem. So multiple of this will also satisfy the Pythagoras theorem, right? So for example, if I say what will be the distance or the hypotenuse if the P and B, perpendicular and base, are say 36 and 48. Now 36 and 48 square is something that I will not be able to do orally, right? So what you do is, whenever you have two sides which are decent size numbers, they're not very small numbers, you don't know the squares of, and you have to find out the Pythagorean triplet, you take out the common factor from them. 36 and 48 both are divisible by 12. So I take out the 12. I'm left with the 3 here. 12 3s are 12 4s. Look at the triplet with 3 and 4. With 3 and 4, the triplet is 5. So you multiply 12 and 5, you get a 60. Correct? Even if the path is not straight, for example, if the movement has been, say, something like this, and you're supposed to find out the distance between the starting and the ending point, assuming these two are the same points, you don't have to look at each part. You just take the overall distance in the horizontal, the sum of these 3 bits, and the overall distance in the vertical, the sum of these 3 bits. Use the Pythagoras theorem on this triangle. Alright. The next is relative directions. So, and when directions change. So if there are two people who are facing towards each other and there is a relationship between them with respect to a side or a direction, questions could be based on that. The other is when the directions change. So north becomes something else and so on. Questions, for example, this is a question based on the distance part. Just go through the question. It says Sumit started moving in west direction and walked 6 kilometers straight. After taking left turn, he moved 4 kilometers, then started moving towards east. He walked for 3 kilometers and stopped. How far is he from the starting point? So he walked 6, 4 and 3. The total distance that he's walked is 13, but that may not be the straight line distance from the starting and the ending point. So I'm looking at the displacement, so to say. So when you're starting, always start from the center. Sumit started moving towards west. Here I go. Moved a distance of 6 kilometers. Right? From here he took a left turn. So because I'm facing in that direction, left will be towards south. So he takes a left turn, moves 4. And then started moving towards east. So from here he moves east. Irrespective of where you are, once you have started with a set of directions, because I had taken this as west, the opposite side will always remain east. So from here, if I have to go east, I'll start going in this direction. He travels a distance of 3. Right? I have to find out this distance from the starting point to the end point. As you can see, the vertical displacement will be equal to this, which is 4. What will be the horizontal displacement? This was 6, this is 3. So this remaining part has to be 3. And we know that with 4 and 3, the hypotenuse comes out to 5. So the distance between the ending and the starting point would be 5. Direction test is a high probability question, and if it does come, it is a question that typically should be attempted, right? The relative thing, or again directions changing, says Saurabh is facing north. He takes 322 turns of 90 degree each in the clockwise direction. In which direction is he finally facing? He's facing north. He starts turning. So every time he turns 90 degree, he'll go east. So one 90 degree turn. Another 90 degree turn would make him face south. Another 90 degree turn would make him face west. Another 90 degree turn would again make him face north. So when you take 4 90 degree turns in one direction, You complete 360 degrees, so you'll have completed a circle and you'll be facing in the same direction you had started. So instead of looking at how many degrees he turned in total, I will remove groups of 4, because 4 turns of 90 degree means one complete circle, and so you're facing in the direction you had started. So I divide 322 by 4. I know that 320 is divisible by 4, the last 2 digits, and therefore the remainder will be 2. So basically 320 is nothing but 80 into 4 plus 2. So that means Saurabh completes 80 circles, because of which he is still facing in the north direction. Then he has to do 2 more circles of 90 degree, 2 more turns of 90 degree, 1, 2, and therefore Saurabh will start facing in the south direction. If the movements are clockwise and anti-clockwise, we'll subtract them. So 90 degree clockwise and a 90 degree anti-clockwise means you're again at the starting point, right? Again, 2 people, relative directions. One morning, Abhishek and Tarun were standing in a lawn. Okay, so that is something that does not happen if you get up late. With their backs towards each other, so probably not on talking terms. Tarun's shadow was on Abhishek's left. Which direction was Abhishek facing? There are 2 things which will have to be looked here. First, they were back towards each other. Shadow was on the on Abhishek's left, and it was morning. What does morning tell me about directions? And shadows are involved. If it is morning, the sun has to be towards the east, right? And therefore the shadow of anything will be towards the west. If it were evening, the sun would be towards west, and therefore the shadow would be towards east, right? So I make Tarun and Abhishek stand. Tarun is facing here, I do not know which direction it is. Abhishek is facing here, backs towards each other. What happens with Tarun's shadow? Tarun's shadow is falling on Abhishek's left. Because Abhishek is facing downwards, that is how I stand. So I become Abhishek, this is my left. So Tarun's shadow would be falling somewhere here on Abhishek's left. If the shadow is falling this side, the sun has to be on the opposite side. So this is the sun. It was morning. So the side on which the sun is has to be east. If this becomes east, this has to be west. So where will be north and south? Yeah. Where will be north and south? Facing north, east is on the right hand side. So if this is north, east will be on the right. So this becomes north, east, west and south. Question says in which direction is Abhishek facing? Abhishek is facing in the north direction. Directions are relative. You can draw your figure as you want depending on how you start. You might get an ending figure and it will be absolutely correct. Right? So just draw the figure and try to figure out what is happening. When directions change, for example, the needle of a faulty compass shows north as northeast and so on. A person wanted to go south for his college. In which direction, according to the faulty compass, should he go from his starting point? According to the faulty compass. So what we do here is, first we draw the actual directions. North, east, west, south. But this is not what is happening. The compass shows north, the normal north as northeast. So this normal north is the northeast for the compass, right? So if this has to become northeast, on one side would be the faulty north, on one side will be the faulty east. If I draw north on this line in this direction, east will come out here, this will become northeast. Therefore, for the faulty compass, this has to be north, this has to be east. I'll put a dash on top. And therefore, this has to be south, this has to be west. Right? So the faulty compass shows the normal north as its northeast and so on. Person wanted to go south. So this has to be south, this has to be west. My bad. This is where the person wants to go. In which direction according to faulty compass should he go? According to the faulty compass, this direction is the southwest direction. So he should go southwest. Right? Draw the normal actual directions. From there, draw what the faulty compass is showing and follow the directions. So this is very quickly direction test. The third part of the presentation is coding and decoding. Coding decoding wise, again, high probability question in the exam. Typically what you do here is you replace alphabets with alphabets or numbers or words with other words, right? So there is a pattern which is to be followed for the further words. The coding could be alphabet to alphabet, it could be pattern based, it could be positional, or it could be reverse alphabet, right? So what I'm saying here is, for example, say apple. I could code apple as APPLE is coded as BQQMF. What has happened? So A and B, E and F kind of give it away. All I've done is I have increased the alphabet by 1 for each of the alphabet. A becomes B, P becomes Q, P becomes Q, L becomes M, E becomes F. Pattern based. This then is to be carried further. So question will say apple is coded as BQQMF. How will you code? Suppose print. Not a problem. I'll add 1 to all of the alphabets. P will become Q, R will become S, I will become J, N will become O, T will become U, right? Or there could be a pattern which is not as simple or straightforward as this, but there are different additions being happening. For example, apple could be coded as B, R, S, P, J. So A becomes B, a +1. P becomes S, PQR, +2. This P becomes S, which is a +3P, QRS. L becomes P, L, M, N, O, P, +4. E becomes J, E, F, G, H, I, J, +5. Similarly, the other word can be coded. So what you do is you start with the alphabets of the given word and look at alphabets in the code which are close to the given alphabets and see what is the difference that is happening. Could be pattern based, could be positional as well. The positions of the alphabets are changed. For example, if I say simple is coded as MISELP. So what happens in this code? I took the first 3, reversed them. I took the last 3, reversed them. Similarly, I'll do with the word that is given to me in the question. So this is positional. The positions of the alphabets have been changed. A trigger for this, whether it is pattern based or positional, will be in a positional coding. What will happen is typically the alphabets of the given word will be used. SIMPLE, SIMPLE. The alphabets are simple, so they would have just been arranged. In pattern based coding, the alphabets will change from the word to the code. There could also be a combination of these two. So what I do is, for example, if I say apple is coded as JPSRB. So this pattern was used and then it was positionally reversed. It could be a combination of position and pattern based, right? So if what we do here is, first of all, we see whether it is this type or this type. That becomes evident on just looking at the word and the code. From there, if it is pattern based, look for adjacent alphabets. You will either find it on the start or towards the end, and therefore you can find out whether it is just pattern based or pattern plus positional based, right? If nothing works out, then what you do is you look at reverse values. When I say reverse values, what I'm saying is these alphabets are represented by the reverse alphabet. So A will become Z, and so on. A becomes Z, B becomes Y, C becomes X, D becomes W, and so on. For example, ACE being coded as ZXV. So to figure this out, what you do is you write the number value of each of the alphabets. Okay. So normally A is 1, C is 3, E is 5, Z is 26, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, and so on. X will be 24, V will be 22. The sum of the number and the reverse value is always 27. So this is the last thing that I check for. Typically the code will fall in one of these 4 values. There could also be alphabet to number coding. Here what is done is the number value of the alphabet, so A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, is used in the code. The values could be taken as it is, or they could be added or multiplied. Then there is word to word coding. So one complete word is replaced by a completely different word. We'll just look at questions based on all of these. For example, acquire. Acquire being coded as FSJ VRDB. What is the code for achieve? Again, as I said, look for alphabets which are close by. The next alphabet for A is B. I see a B here, so this could be happening. For C is D. There is a D as well. So I just continue with that. For Q, the next alphabet is R. For U, it is V. I becomes J. R is S. E is F. So the next values have been taken and the entire thing has been reversed for the code. So that is what I'll do for achieve as well. A becomes B, C becomes D, I becomes J, E becomes F, W, F. And therefore, the code will be F, W, oh, I forgot the H. A, C, H, I, V, E, so H, I. F, W, F, J, I, D, B. F, W, F, J, I, D, B. Right? So this is alphabet to number. Mentor is coded as 455269. Just write the alphabet values of these numbers. Again, a good anchor point is L has a value of 12, right? So you can go from 1 to 12, A to L, and then count further. So L, M. M becomes 13, E is 5, L, M, N. N becomes 14. For T, I say L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T. 8 more than L, so this becomes 20. L, M, N, O becomes 15. R becomes L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, 18. So the number values of the alphabets were 13, 5, 14, 15 and 18. The code is 455629. Because there are 6 alphabets here and 6 digits here, that means for every alphabet there is 1 digit, which means from this 13 I have to get one of these digits. Clearly 3 plus 1 is 4. 5 comes as it is. 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 plus 0 is 2. 5 plus 1 is 6. And 8 plus 1 is 9, which is the code given. So you write the number values of each alphabets and add the digits. For example, helper. What do I do with helper? H. A, B, C, D, F, G, H. 8. E is 5. E is 5. L is 12. P is L, M, N, O, P for 16. E is again 5. R I had written was 18. 8 comes as it is. 5 comes as it is. 2 plus 1 is 3. 6 plus 1 is 7. 5 comes as it is. 8 plus 1 is 9. 8, 5, 3, 7, 5, 9. 8, 5, 3, 7, 5, 9. 8, 5, 3, 9. So none of these becomes the answer. Alphabet to number. Apple. If Delhi is coded as WVOSR, how will Apple be coded in the same language? If you look for alphabets close to D, before that is A, B, C. Then after D it is E, F, G. As you can see, none of them are a part of the code. Similarly for E. So positional, of course, positional is not happening, as is evident. The pattern also might not happen because you're looking at a very big shift, and therefore in this case what I do is I look for the reverse values. I write the reverse values for Delhi, the alphabet values for Delhi. D is 4, E is 5, L is 12, H is 8, I is 9. Right? Let us look at W, V, O, S, R. W is W, X, Y, Z. 23, 4, 5, 6. U, V, W. 22, L, M, N, O. So O will become 12. S would be S, T, U, X, Y, Z. 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 19, R, S, this one before this 18. As you can see, 4 plus 3 is 27, 5 plus 22, 27, 12 plus, this would be 13. Sorry, not 13, but 15. 8 plus 19, 27, 9 plus 18, 27. Right? So these are reverse codes. Actually, for me, it was sealed here only. The rest, I was just putting numbers. So it is easier to see the extreme values, right? How will Apple be coded as? Again, I don't have to get into the code too much here for the simple reason that, see, P will be coded with the same alphabet because the same process is happening. There is the change is not different. The pattern is not different for each alphabet. For each alphabet, you have to do the same thing. You have to look at its reverse value. So for both the P's, the reverse value will be same. So in my code, the second and third alphabet have to be same. It is not so here, it is not so here. So I'm left with these two. Next, what will be the reverse value for A? A is the first alphabet, the last alphabet will be the reverse value, which is Z. This is not a Z, so D becomes the answer. Word to word, one type of question is this. The colors are given different names and then there is a question. Start with the question. What is the color of the sky? Right? And what does this language say? Red is called blue, blue is called yellow, yellow is called violet, violet is called pink, pink is called brown. This is a complete cycle. So you don't start from one point and reach the other last point because then the cycle will continue. Just looking for one word. What is the color of the sky? Normally the color of the sky is blue. And what is blue called in this language? Blue is called yellow. So according to this language, what is the color of the sky? That's it. Then there is this kind of a code. Sorry. Yeah. So there are multiple statements given. Says, in a certain language, do, re, mi means we will study. So for each of these words, there is a code word. Paso mi means study is good. Please note, the order of the codes does not have to be order of the words. But if the same word is repeated, the code has to be repeated. If a word is used only in one statement, the code has to be used only in that statement. That is how you figure out the word and the code. For example, what is the common word in these two statements? Both of them have study. So there has to be a code which is common to both the codes as well, a word. Here, what is the common word? Me is common. And therefore, what is the code for study? Me becomes the answer. If there were two words that were common, right, I would look at the word that is not common and then look at the code that is not common and find out the code. Word to word coding. All right. So we've talked about coding, decoding. We've talked about directions. We've talked about blood relations. Draw the family tree, draw the directions, look at the code, types of questions, and then that's how you work with. These are high probability questions. These are typically standalone questions and have a good repetition rate in terms of questions asked and also in terms of answerability, right? Lastly, very quickly, I'll just touch upon arrangements as well in this video. So typically arrangements is you're trying to make people or things, put them in certain order. This order could be of different types, but when you're making this arrangement, especially when you're trying to put them in a straight line, make sure of the directions. Typically information will say a person is to the left, a person is to the right. Left and right change as you change. For example, probably right now I am facing you, this is my left, your left will be the opposite, right? So when you're drawing a diagram, make sure as much as possible, make that person in the diagram face as you are. So when I'm drawing something, I would assume that the persons are facing upwards. So what happens is now their left and right is the same as mine. If I draw the diagram like this, because I am facing here, my right will be that person's left, right? North and south, as I said earlier, does not matter, they are relative positions. Then make note of these words: left, immediate left. When I say A sits to the left of B, A and B could be anywhere. Sorry. This is A sits to the left. A sits to the left of B. I had actually drawn it correct earlier. A sits to the left of B. So I draw B, I look at the left of B, which will be here if B is facing upwards. A sits somewhere here. A sits to the left of B. A sits to the left of B. A sits to the left of B. All these three will qualify for the left. When I say A sits immediately to the left of B, that is when I am talking of this arrangement. Immediate word is important. And what does adjacent mean? If A sits adjacent to B, for this word, the left and right is not known. So this will also be A and B are adjacent. This will also be A and B are adjacent. Similarly, the words between and in between. When I say C sits between A and B, everything from here to here is between. Does not have to be the exact center. For both between and in between, any point in this continuum could be between and in between A and B. The exact center will be referred by exactly between. We will look at these places, these terms very quickly in the question as well. Then is 3 places away, third to the right, 3 people between. So if I say A, what will be 3 places to the right or 3 places away from A? 1, 2, 3. This person will be referred to third to the right of A, 3 places away from A. 3 places away from A could also be on the left. 1, 2, 3. 3 places away from A. 3 people between is this and this the same? If I say 3 people between, there have to be 3 here. Could be on the other side as well. But 3 people between and 3 places away are not the same things. If there are 3 people between A and B, then B is 4 places away from A. Alright? Similarly, opposite, diametrically opposite, farthest away. So this typically will happen in, especially diametrically opposite, will happen in a circular arrangement. So when I draw a circle, the point here and this point are opposites or diametrically opposites. If there is an arrangement which is around, say, a square, these 2 points are the furthest away, similarly the other ones, or diagonally opposite, right? Opposite typically would mean points which are, say, like this in a rectangular or square arrangement. In a circle, opposite and diametrical opposite are the same. Extreme ends, if there is a line, the start and the end of the line will be extreme ends. Left or right will depend on further information. There could be 4 commonly asked question types: linear, circular, tabular, and grouping. I am just sharing some questions on linear and circular in this video. In the next video, we'll start with tabular and grouping. So, for example, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H are sitting in a row facing south. 8 people in a row facing south. Then there is information about them. Harish is sitting third to the left of Gaurav. Charan fifth to the left of Farhan. Fifth to the left, 6. Ishwar sitting third to the right of Dinda. Anil is sitting to the immediate left of Dinda. Is there any? There is further information. Dinda is an immediate neighbor of Charan. And then there will be questions which would look something like this. Yeah. So let us start drawing the arrangement. That is all you have to do. All of them are sitting in a row facing south. I am assuming this direction to be south, so that when they face, they are in the same direction as I am, so their left and my left will be the same. Which statement should I start with? Look for a statement which has the minimum number of possibilities to draw. If Harish is sitting third to the left of Gaurav, there is Harish, there is Gaurav, there will be 2 people in between. So there are 4 people, right? Now these 4 could be anywhere from position 1 to 8. That is to say, if I say this is position 1, this is 8. Harish is sitting third to the left of Gaurav. So Gaurav, Harish, this is one possibility. I could have Gaurav, Harish. I could have Gaurav, Harish, or I could have Gaurav, Harish. There are 4 possibilities that can happen, right? And therefore, I will always start with something that has minimum number of possibilities. So, from these statements, this looks a good starting point because there are 5 people in between. So for Charan and Farhan, the number of possibilities will probably reduce. So I'm starting from the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Charan is sitting fifth to the left of Farhan. So if this is Farhan, Charan will be on this side. So I draw Charan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Farhan. Farhan's left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is one possibility. Or Charan here and Farhan on this side. Farhan here, Charan, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This statement is used, there are 3 possibilities. Any further information about Charan or Farhan? The last line, Dinda is an immediate neighbor of Charan. If Dinda is an immediate neighbor of Charan, here Dinda has to be on this position, immediate neighbor. Here Dinda could be on either side, here also Dinda could be on either side. Next, Ishwar is sitting third to the right of Dinda. Third to the right of Dinda. So if Ishwar is sitting third to the right of Dinda, Anil is sitting okay. Let's start with the second last statement first. Anil is sitting immediately to the left of Dinda. So if Dinda sits here, immediate left will be C, that is already taken. Not possible. Here if Dinda sits here, the immediate left, there is no possibility. If Dinda sits here, immediate left, C is sitting. Again, not possible. In this case, if Dinda sits here, immediate left, C is sitting, not possible. And therefore, the only position left for Dinda would be, the last statement is done. Anil is sitting to the immediate left of Dinda. So Anil has to be here on the immediate left of Dinda. This is also done. Then further, Dinda is, Ishwar is sitting third to the right of Dinda. So if this is Dinda, third to the right would be 1, 2, 3. This becomes Ishwar. Harish is sitting third to the left of Gaurav. So Gaurav will be on this side, Harish will be towards here. I have only this possibility left. If Gaurav sits here, Harish will be 1, 2, 3, third to the left. If I make Gaurav sit here, 1, 2, 3, this position is already taken. If I make Gaurav sit here, 1, 2, 3, the positions are already taken. So this is the only possibility left. And the people that are not sitting so far are A, B is not there, C, D, E, F, G. So B comes here. This is the position in which they are sitting. A, D, C, H, E, B, G, F. A, D, C, H, E, B, G, F. A, D, C, H, E, B, G, F. Yeah. Who is sitting exactly between Ishwar and Gaurav? Ishwar and Gaurav, exactly between them is Bunty. What is the position of Harish with respect to Bunty? With respect to Bunty, Harish is 1, 2. Second to the left. A, D, C, H, E, B, G, F. Which of the following pairs sitting extreme corners? A and F are on the extreme corners, Anil and Farhan. Which of the following is a pair of people sitting adjacent to each other? Anil and Bunty are not. Charan and Dinda, C and D are. So this is a possibility. E and F are not adjacent. Gaurav and G and H are not adjacent, and therefore B becomes the answer. As you can see, in these questions, what you do is, you will spend some time figuring out the arrangement in which they are sitting. So that might take 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then the questions follow from there. The attempt time for the questions is limited, right? In arrangement questions, again, there are questions which may be of higher difficulty level and they are not to be attempted. So if you're not able to figure out the arrangement in the first 3.5 minutes, it's a good idea to stop that question, move on. If you have the time, come back to it. Also, while you're doing a rough work, try to make it neat. I know rough and neat don't go together, but the idea is, suppose you do the arrangement, you're not able to solve it properly, just run through the questions. If based on your arrangement, you're able to find an answer. If that does not happen and in the end you have time, you can actually go back to what you had done and start working on that. It will save you some time, or you will have to start over again, right? This is a circular based question. Yeah. A, B, C, D, F, 6 people are sitting around a circular table facing the center. Why this line is important is because if in a circle you are facing the center, your right and left are different. You are facing outside, your right and left will change. A and B are neighbors, so are E and F, very good to know. So they will be adjacent to each other. B is second to the right of C, D is second to the left of E. Great. Where do I start from? Now with neighbors, left and right is not known, so the first statement does not seem like something I would want to start with. I'll start with the second statement. B is second to the right of C. 6 people. Opposite, 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 just so you know. B is second to the right of C. So make C sit first, facing inside. B is second to the right. Right will be in the anti-clockwise direction here. 1, 2. Second to the right. When you are turning, right is clockwise, but if you are sitting, right will be on the anti-clockwise. So B has to turn to his right to reach C. Something like that. B is second to the right of C. A and B are neighbors. And D is second to the left of E. So let's make A sit first. A could be here, or A could be here. These are the two cases that I am getting. I have drawn this. I have accounted for this. Next, D is second to the left of E. D is second to the left of E. So if E sits somewhere here, left would be on clockwise 1, 2. So basically E dash D is what I'm looking at. If E sits here, D has to be at this position, which is taken, not possible. If E sits here, the two positions are taken, not possible. If E sits here, D could be on the second left, second to the left of E. That is a possibility. In this diagram, if E sits here, D could be sitting here, second to the left. If E sits here, this position is taken. If E sits here, this position is taken. So this is the only possibility. I have drawn this as well. Lastly, E and F are neighbors. Both the positions close to E are taken, not possible. E and F are neighbors. So that this is the arrangement that I get. B, A, C, E, F, D. B, A, C, E, F, D. This is the arrangement that I got. Who sits diametrically opposite B? Diametrically opposite B is E. What is the position of A with respect to B? A is here, B is here. B is facing inside, so this will be the left of B. A is immediate left of B. DBA CEF. Three of the following are similar in some way, which is different. C, D, they are opposite. A, F are opposite. A, B are not. B, E are opposites. So B, E, A, F and C, D are sitting opposite to each other. A, B are adjacent. So this is different. Who is sitting second to the right of E? E facing inwards. So this becomes the right 1, 2. Second to the right will be A. Lastly, if A and F interchange their seats, who will be sitting to the right of A? A and F interchange their seats. So A and F interchanging their seats would mean A goes to the top, F comes here. Who is sitting to the right of A? A facing inside. This will be the right side. So to the right of A now would be E. Circular arrangement. And since we are talking of circular, one short question on based on circular arrangement is this one. Sort of a puzzle, but yeah. There's the number of students in a class is n. They are numbered starting from 1 to n. So roll number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and made to sit in a circle in that order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and so on. If number 4 sits opposite 16. So this is the circle. 4 is sitting opposite to 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses started and the circle was made. What is the value of n? So again, please note, 16 plus 4, 20, constant does not happen. And a very good idea or very good way to look at it is your clock. (12 plus 6 is 18, 11 plus 4 is 15, 10 plus 3 is 13. Opposites do not add up to a constant value. But what will always happen in a circle is the number on this side, if I take two diametrically opposite values, number on either side will be same. These are two diametrically opposite values. I do not know how many people are sitting on this side because I do not know till where I have to count. But the number here is constant, right? How many numbers will be sitting between 4 and 6? 4 and 16? If 12 is the first thing that comes to mind, it is wrong. Why is 12 wrong? See, when you subtract two numbers, this 12 includes 16, does not include 4. So I had numbers from 1 to 16, I'm removing the first 4. 4 is gone, but in the 12 numbers remaining, 16 is a part. So 16 minus 4 gives me a value which includes 16, does not include 4. If therefore I have to count from if I have to count from 4 to 16, from 4 to 16, both 4 and 16 have to be included. So what I do is I add 1 to the difference. Why? Because 16 minus 4 gives me a value which includes 16, does not include 4. So to include 4, I'll add 1. So when you are counting from A to B, the number of numbers is A minus B plus 1. Right? 4, 5, 6. How do I do this? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 13 values. When you are counting between 4 and 16, you don't want 16 either. You just want numbers between these two values. So from the difference, you subtract 1. Right? So how many numbers between 4 and 16? 11. So there are 11 people sitting on this side. Therefore, there will be 11 people sitting on the other side as well. So what is the total number of people? 11 plus 11 plus these two people. So a total of 24. Right? So that is all for this one. In the next video that will be uploading in a couple of days time, we'll talk about more again relevant questions like series, which is a high probability question. We'll talk about some logic based puzzles, and we'll talk about arrangements which are based on table and grouping problems, right? So thank you very much. Please make sure you visit the link of the test given. The other test is also will be uploaded on that link. So it's a good idea to attempt the test and then go through the explanations. And if there's any question, feel free to reach us, right? Thank you very much. Take care.